Mark Bishop Show. Truly like a box of chocolates. You never know who you're going to meet. From business, lifestyle, and fun. Here's Mark.
I don't know if you know this or not, folks, but the U.S. News and World Report Best Colleges rankings are among the most widely recognized and influential systems for evaluating higher education institutions in the United States. In fact, since their first publication in 1983, the annual rankings have become a significant tool for prospective students, families, and high school counselors in the college search. So, do you want to know which schools top this year's list? I welcome Lamont Jones. He's the managing editor for education of U.S. News and World Report. Welcome, Lamont.
Thanks so much for having me.
Lamont, I guess the ultimate goal for any student should be to find the school that is the best personal fit academically, socially, and financially. What are these based on?
Well, U.S. News annual best college rankings are based on a number of factors. Our methodology looks at 17 key indicators that look at various factors that are important to students and their families in terms of outcomes of colleges, in terms of academic quality at colleges, that help students determine the best fit for them. We use data, of course, that is very data-driven. Mm-hmm. We look at, again, those 17 data indicators. We begin with really an extensive three-part comprehensive survey of colleges, and we gather other third-party data, and our data analyst team takes the better part of a year to gather, verify, certify, review the data to present these best colleges rankings each year.
There's a lot involved. I mean, it's a heavily weighted category that looks at factors. You've got graduation rates, retention rates, students who return after their first year, social mobility, how well schools graduate students from low-income backgrounds. I mean, it goes pretty deep, doesn't it?
Yes, it does by design, because these are factors that we find are important to students and their families, of course, indirectly to the public at large in terms of how well higher education is serving its public good, but that are really key indicators of how well a particular college fulfills its mission to educate the population, and for them to be able to use that education, which has a cost attached to it, which is a very significant factor for students and their families, to be able to get out and get a job in their field of study within a certain amount of time, making money in a career that they aim for. And so more than half of our rankings are weighted, more than half of the weight is on outcomes.
Right. Well, this is year 41. I didn't start yesterday, that's for sure. Tell us about this year's results, Lamont.
Well, in our 41st edition, U.S. News Best Colleges Rankings, the two main categories of rankings, Best National Universities and Best National Liberal Arts Colleges for the national universities. And these are, we have to have apples-to-apples comparisons, right? So for national universities, based on the Carnegie classifications that we use also, those are schools that are heavily research-focused, and they offer not just a range of undergraduate degree programs, but also master's and doctoral programs, whereas national liberal arts colleges have an emphasis on undergraduate education and award at least half of their degrees in liberal arts fields. So for the national universities, let's say the top there, number one is Princeton University, number two is MIT, Harvard is at third, and Stanford and Yale are tied at fourth, while the University of Chicago, the only new entrant to the top 10 on this list, comes in at number 6, followed by a four-way tie at 7 to round out the top 10. That's Duke, Johns Hopkins, Northwestern, and University of Pennsylvania. Now, over on the 10 national liberal arts colleges, the top 10 there, Williams College and Amherst College, both in Massachusetts, are at number 1 and number 2. The U.S. Naval Academy is number 3. Followed by Swarthmore College at 4th. Bowdoin College and the U.S. Air Force Academy are tied at 5. And then rounding out the top 10, there's a three-way tie at 7. Claremont McKenna, Pomona out in California, and Wellesley College, followed by a three-way tie at number 10, Carleton College, Harvey Mudd, and the U.S. Military Academy at West Point.
Wow. I gather all of these are on your site for people to be able to research, Lamont. You know, at usnews.com/best-colleges?
That's correct. There's no paywall there. All these rankings are free. Profiles of these colleges are free with tons of data and information right there on usnews.com. That's correct. And there's an education tab on the homepage. If anybody gets lost, click on that education tab. It opens up all the rankings, all the advice content we do year round, everything you need to know about getting into college and paying for it and succeeding in college.
Right. Well, there's so much in depth. I mean, when you look at faculty resources, measures the class size, student to faculty ratio, and then the faculty salaries bob up as well. You're talking reputation is another one. A peer assessment survey of college presidents, provosts, and deans gauges a school's reputation among its peers. Financial resources, and this looks at how much a school spends per student on instruction, research, and student services. So I gather with all of that, how does U.S. News determine the best colleges? I mean, you have rankings for public schools, veterans, by state, and more. How do you get it all together?
Yes, it's an extensive process that takes the better part of a year at U.S. News and World Report. We have found there were only a couple of very minor tweaks to the methodology this year because it is effective. We have spent quite a bit of time at U.S. News with our team of expert data analysts, finding out the best way to weight and best factors to consider. So it stood the test of time. We also rank regional colleges and regional universities, dividing the U.S. into 4 regions, North, South, West, and Midwest, because there are some schools that their mission is to cater to students in their region, and that's a noble mission. Others have a more national, even international scope. So gathering this information, regardless of whether it's a suburban, urban school, public, private, high cost, low cost, a free tuition school, a military service academy, these factors that you mentioned and the others are important regardless of where you go. And it's up to individual students and families to decide how they want to prioritize these different factors for their personal preferences and their needs and what they want most out of a school.
Well, from what you've shared with us, Lamont, I don't think anybody could say, hey, yeah, but what sets U.S. News rankings apart compared to other best school lists out there? I mean, you'd sort of swamp them, wouldn't you?
Well, in a way, it wouldn't be fair for us to compare ourselves to the others because we've been doing it the longest. We've been at it for quite a while, and we've pretty much close to come to perfecting a system based on a number of things, including we have a council of college admissions deans for more than 20 years who give us great feedback. They come to D.C. and to our offices here, and they give us honest feedback about the rankings and the methodologies and the weights and all the things that we do to. We take their feedback and advice seriously in terms of trying to keep the rankings credible, valuable, usable. It's just so important because, again, it's doing a lot of the legwork, pulling things together just to give students and families a great starting point on the college search process. We're not the end-all, be-all, we've never claimed to be, but we're a valuable starting point people continue to affirm in that college search process based on what we provide, the information, and how it's all together in one convenient place. And, we find that people value that.
Well, as you said, it's not like you're a startup. You've been going 41 years. I mean, if anybody knows their business, it's got to be you. You've learned all the tricks of the trade. In fact, I think the first publication was back in 1983, and the annual rankings have now become a significant tool for prospective students, along with their families and high school counselors. You are the managing editor. How many staff would you have to be able to achieve? It's a year-long project.
Yes. Well, the data team has a number of people there, a little bit separate. We have, of course, a number of, departments that help make it go. But over in editorial, my editorial, there's me, the managing editor, there is a senior editor, and there is an in-house writer. And we do have freelance writers who we work with to help bring this content year-round. There are literally, and it is a work in progress. We're always updating things with new data, but we literally have thousands of articles on every aspect of college life and getting into college and paying for college. A scholarship finder tool that's free with more than 12,000 scholarships in the database that can be searched. a Find Your Best Fit College tool, a Find Your Best Major tool, profile pages, just so much information in one place that's free and helpful for anybody even thinking about maybe going to college.
Well, there you go, folks. HTTPS, semicolon, blah, blah. I always say www.usnews.com/best-colleges. Now, I'd like to ask you in closing, Lamont, what advice do you have for prospective students and their parents? How can they use to the best of their ability the U.S. News' best colleges rankings during college application season? I mean, is it easy? Just go to the site, is that it?
We try to make it as easy as possible. Here's what we advise in our content and in our rankings and all of our content. Number one, understand why you want to go to college and why you're looking into it, what you want the end to be after college, what you want to do in life. Crystallize that first. Use our rankings and our other free content as tools to help sort schools and find out the different factors that are important to you and how those schools perform in those factors. It's a great and essential starting point that helps simplify and demystify, saves time, saves money in terms of the information that you can get to be on your way towards applying to college. We have advice about starting as early as possible. In some ways, it may not be ever too late, but the earlier you start, we advise, the better. We have content for if you're a high school freshman, high school sophomore, junior, senior, what to do in the summertime. All of this information. We also have a critical weekly e-newsletter that goes out every Thursday called Getting In. And even though this newsletter targets parents and other adults who help students with the application process, students get it too because it literally is, if you've never even heard of a college, it's everything you need to know about colleges, what to know, the application process, when tests happen, whether or not you're going to need them, every single thing that in real time as the application calendar proceeds, what you need to be doing, getting in.
Fantastic.
You can go on usnews.com right there and find where to subscribe to that, and it's free.
What a service. What a service. Pat on the back, my friend. You must work your butt off. Lamont Jones, he is the managing editor for education for U.S. News and the World Report. The World's Report Best College Rankings, right? Fantastic. Everything you need to know. What was that again, Mark? www.usnews.com/best, BEST-colleges. Thank you, Lamont. Been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, likewise.
Join us again for another episode of The Mark Bishop Show. It's a production of Mark Bishop Media.